Hello, I hope you're doing well. I am going to start a series here on protecting the love in your relationship. And I hope I can get through all this in 4 or 5 different messages, so be patient with me as I kind of walk through this because this has probably been one of the greatest areas of need in my life and therefore one of the greatest areas of breakthrough. I've read recently that God will prune you in the areas of your life that are prohibiting growth. And he will then also prune you at the time before your greatest season of growth. Of course, we all look at pruning as something we do in the spring or something, but with our plants. But the concept is that he will prune you in the area that is prohibiting growth, and then he will prune you in the time just before growth. And so, as I went through the challenges in my relationship and was desperately seeking breakthrough, this was an area that obviously I went through a tremendous pruning, but also have had my greatest growth, my greatest production. As God's promise always is, where he prunes, he will grow. And he prunes because he loves us, because he wants to help us get rid of the things in our life that are challenging and so forth, that are prohibiting growth, and then he can prepare us for growth. And so, having to break things off of my life that were in the way. And so one of the things I want to talk to you about is how to protect the love in a relationship, protecting the intimacy, protecting the intimacy you see. You see, I believe the key in a relationship is really to stay vulnerable so they can see into you. Okay, and I'll just use it from a first person tense. If I want to have a great relationship with my sons, they need to be able to know what's going on inside my heart. If I want to have a great relationship with a brother, a bro, then they need to know what's going inside of my heart. I need to stay vulnerable long enough for them to know what's going on inside of me. See, the challenge for most people is that we don't want to show what's going on inside of us because it's scary. And if you've been hurt or damaged or had some things in your life that have really been difficult to deal with, the last thing we want to do is show our vulnerable areas because we've been hit there and dealt with some blows that we say, I'm never opening up that box of my life again. I'm never going to expose that area of my life again because it hurts. But in reality, the person that gets hurt the most when you don't open up these areas is yourself, because you close yourself off, you create these walls to protect yourself from being hurt, and therefore you really can't touch people's lives because you're so busy covering up, you can't open up to help others. To have a true, genuine relationship, you've got to be willing to risk. If you want to go high, you have to go deep. So you got to be willing to open up yourself. Now, if people consistently abuse your vulnerability, then of course you create healthy boundaries, and we'll talk about that later in some blogs, but you'll create boundaries to protect that, because there's a place where my life ends and your life starts, right? There's a life where your life ends and their life starts. There's a boundary there, and it's a safety boundary based upon being powerful and recognizing each other for their values. And so I'll talk more about that in the future. But right now what I'm talking about is a concept of staying vulnerable. I need to be in a place where I'm so confident with who I am that I can express who I am without the need for you to agree with me. You see, most of the time when I express what's going on inside of me, we do that because we want you to agree with it. We want you to change. We want you to reduce yourself to our needs. And I want you to take care of my problem. And the reality is, what I want is to show what's going inside of me. That's the into me you see. Then the person that we're working with has the opportunity to show how important this relationship is. Because if they begin to honor that which you say is important, then you'll know how important the relationship is to them. And if they don't make those adjustments, if they don't recognize that you're being vulnerable for the point of them to know you, so therefore they can open up and you can get to know them, then you can begin to go deep so you can build the foundation so you can go high. So when we talk about protecting the love, when we talked about creating incredible relationships, one of the foundational principles is people are not mind readers. They cannot read your mind. And even though we want them to, We really hope that they can read our mind and say, this is what's going on, but they can't. There's just no way, but we think they do. And that's why we end up with silent treatment. What's going on? Nothing. What's the matter? Nothing. I said nothing. And the reality of what they're saying is guess. What they're really saying, you should know. You've known me long enough. But if you don't ever show what's going on inside of you, then how is anybody really going to ever do that? It's unfair to expect people to read your mind when the reality is they can't. So we need to stay vulnerable enough for people to show, do they in fact honor this relationship? And if they don't honor the relationship, then you create the boundaries that are appropriate based upon the new type of relationship you're going to have. It's clearly not going to be an intimate relationship. And by that I mean a transparent relationship. We're not going to confuse intimacy with the bedroom. I'm talking about a relationship where you can see what's going on inside my heart. So step one is to create enough self-image, enough of a powerful person that you can let people know what's going on inside of you without accusation, without blaming, without getting angry, and say, this is what's going on inside of me. Hopefully we can begin to talk about it. All right? I'll come back with you for a few parts. Stay tuned for more. Love you.